Looks like we are streaming live. Got that part. Recording here for Bob Tassone. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, John.
Hello. We got Wednesday morning again here, middle of October, October 18th. Beautiful season, beautiful time of year. We're here in Williamsburg, Virginia, talking about protecting your assets and insurance and real estate. So we've had a number of conversations over the last few weeks and building a lot of discussion here to help people understand the nuances of insurance, why it's so important, how it protects you, the things that you should know about coverages and so forth. And today you have a particular topic that you're going to get a chance to chat a little bit about, policy cancellations and such. So glad to have this topic coming up.
All right. Well, the topic is policy cancellation versus policy non-renewal. It doesn't matter what type of insurance policy you have. You can see one of these notices. I'll relate it to homeowners insurance or car insurance particularly, but it could apply to your health insurance or your life insurance or, any kind of policy. Generally, when a policy is canceled, it's because of something that you have done. And the most common reason for a policy being canceled is you didn't pay your premium.
Okay.
But policy cancellation is usually because of something you have done versus policy non-renewal is usually something that the insurance company is changing their guidelines, or there's something going on that you don't fit the guidelines anymore. It's usually not something where you've really done something wrong. It's just you're not fitting their guidelines or they've changed their guidelines. So the example that I would give, and I had this happen recently, and this is what made me think of it, have a policy holder who changed their homeowners insurance from one company to another, and their landlord policy was with the same company as their homeowners insurance, and the homeowners insurance company required them to have the homeowner policy for them to qualify for the landlord policy. So they're non-renewed because they changed their homeowner policy. So that's a simple problem. All we got to do is just change their landlord policy to a different company. It's not something that's going to cause their rate to go up or cause them to be flagged because there's some kind of unusual risk.
Okay.
It's just something where that company said, if you're going to have a landlord policy with us, you need to have your homeowner's policy with us.
Makes sense.
And I don't like that rule. But anyway, that's their rule. And so we have to change not only the homeowners, but the landlord policy.
Okay.
So you can see a non-renewal because they're not writing policies in that territory or in that state, or there's some internal rule that they're changing that's causing you to be non-renewed. So non-renewal usually happens at the time of renewal. Make sense? Whereas a cancellation can happen anytime.
Okay.
And usually happens midterm. So what causes cancellation besides not paying your premium? I mean, you could be canceled on your automobile insurance because you had a DUI. It's usually something that you did that causes it. On the homeowner side, they could go out and inspect your house, and they will do that from time to time. They have independent contractors that they send out to look at your house, and if they notice something about it that doesn't conform to normal underwriting, then they'll send out a cancellation notice. Now, a cancellation notice usually will be conditional. It'll say you will be canceled on this date if you don't fix this.
Yeah.
and you have a certain amount of time to correct whatever condition they're complaining about. Now, if there's multiple conditions, I had a cancellation where there were about 6 different things. They went out and looked at this place, and they had a problem with refuse all over the yard and indications that there was a business being run out of the garage, and there was moss on the roof, and there were about 6 different things. And they just said, this property no longer conforms to standards, so we're canceling it. And the homeowner said, well, I don't want them to cancel it. What can I do? I said, well, you need to come up with a plan to correct these 6 things. And if you can come up with that plan, I'll send it to the insurance company and they'll reconsider it.
Okay.
But if you're just going to sit there and complain, they're going to cancel it, because there's a long list of things that are a problem, not just 1 or 2 things.
Right. So I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean it's an easy solution, because there
No,
may
and then
a
if you're
couple things might be fairly easy, but
canceled, I mean, if you
oh, you froze up there for a second, Bob.
so did you. Anyway, if you're
What do you mean?
canceled, if you're canceled for a reason because you've had too many claims, or because you've done something like I said, a DUI, or excessive amount of tickets, or car accidents, or whatever, that can affect your rate. In other words, cancellation can cause your rate to be higher the next place that you go, because these insurance companies communicate with each other. All of this data goes into an information bank, and you consent to that when you take out the policy. But
Right.
there's no way around it. Versus a non-renewal is usually very benign. It's just, oh, well, something happened and we don't want you anymore, but we really like you. We just don't want you anymore. And
Which
go
is
somewhere else. And so we find somebody else that wants you more.
so, and so that, this is kind of an interesting point of this conversation, in that what you're presenting is factual, right? You're what we're talking about is a little uncomfortable, in my opinion. These are things that people don't want to have happen. You don't want to be canceled, and you don't want to have a non-renewal. If it does happen, here's kind of why. But what you're able to do with your services is help in whatever the scenario is, to make sure that individual is able to, you help walk through the corrections that need to get made. So you had the list of 6 items, and you were going to work with this homeowner to help them get through, that process, so that they can be. Was that a cancellation or a non-renewal? Let me ask that.
That's a cancellation. That's a cancellation. And I mean, usually the 6 items require some money. In other words, if they're complaining about moss growing on the roof, moss growing on your roof is an indication of a porous roof. That's an indication of a roof that needs to be replaced. And so you've got to replace the roof. I mean, that's not just a little Band-Aid. That's something you've got to do that involves writing a check. Some of these things are difficult, and I try to inspect homes and give people a heads up on these things, but I can't keep track of every.
Oh, of course not.
Every roof and every moss that's growing on every roof. But if it happens, unfortunately, that's what they're saying to you. You need to replace your roof. And that's not an easy problem to solve sometimes.
Well, and I know we're kind of conjecturing there's different kinds of things that can grow on roof, and some are lichens and some are mosses, and I've gotten into all that with roof replacements and stuff like that. So a roof being one particular item, it's good that you are able to help them understand what their options are. I will say for roofs, get a roof inspector.
Yeah.
Let's get an inspection
and
and
have a
kind of
professional look at it. Sure. I mean, if there's a way to correct it without replacing it, that's up to the roofing company.
Yeah. So, and I will say, just offering that when it comes to solutions for some of these things, Bob, I know you're trying to kind of compartmentalize this conversation into a small kind of package. But there's ways for people to help address things. And if they've got, I get it, if there's refuse in your yard, clean it up.
Yeah.
If you got a business now, if you got a business that you're operating at home, I'm sorry, not to get into this person's business, but maybe you need to change the policy to something else, right?
Or we need a different policy. I mean, with the roof, so when I look at a roof, I'm looking at it from the ground. I don't carry a drone around with me. Maybe I should. But when they go out there and they look at the roof, they'll get a drone up there and take pictures from above. So they can see things that I can't see. So sometimes it's not just a matter of I wasn't being observant or the homeowner wasn't being observant. There are some roofs that it's very difficult to see every part of the roof.
Yeah.
But they know how to look at the roof.
Yeah, and there's roofing, roofs are kind of nerve-wracking things, right? If there's something wrong with it, you don't want to have a problem with your roof. You do not want to have a problem with your roof that ends up creating a bigger problem for your home. And that's why the insurance company is going to have a issue with this, is because that's something they're not going to, if something is deteriorated to that point, then of course
well, see, from the insurance company standpoint, if something happens to that house, they're going to put a new roof on it.
Right.
You're not going to put a worn out roof on it. And so they want the roof to be in serviceable condition.
Good serviceable condition
for them to insure it, because if it's not serviceable, then they would be replacing a roof that is worn because of age, not because of something happening to it.
So, sorry. Well, this is very, very intriguing conversation to kind of know what somebody can do, because there are mistakes that get made. Life is full of risks, right? And then there are things that you can do. So there's some things that you can do to correct your issues, and there are some things that you may need to dig a little deeper and figure out some new strategies to help with your coverages and so forth. It's good to have somebody like you on their side that can help navigate through that process.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first thing that I will either be copied on the notice, or sometimes I'll just get a phone call because somebody got it before I did. My first question is, well, what are they saying? I mean, I need to know why. Does the letter say why you're being non-renewed or why you're being canceled? And then if I know the reason why, then I can say, well, is this true?
Yeah.
Is this the case? Is there something you can do about it?
Right.
That's it. That's all we can do is try to guide them. But I can't get up there and start replacing the roof. That's not what I do.
Yeah, no.
They could get somebody else to do that.
Help find options. And we have people, in the real estate world, we have a lot of connections with professionals that do all kinds of service work. We have roof cleaners that help, remove moss from roofs, by the way. And we've got folks that do roof replacements and siding replacements and all kinds of other things. And these are different than HOA violations. So we're not just talking about HOA violations. These are things that the insurance company recognizes as needs for the home to be in good condition. Bob, did you freeze up again? Looks like we froze up again. I may have an unstable internet connection this morning. Well, it looks like I may have lost the connection with Bob. I'm not sure if we're still transmitting here or not, but we were going to go ahead and conclude this call. Thank you, Bob, for sharing that information about the difference between cancellation on an insurance policy and non-renewal. It looks like we lost Bob. If you have any questions about insurance and need assistance with finding coverages for your home, or you want to have a local agent that's here to help work for you, Bob Tassone with Port Financial Port Insurance right here in Williamsburg. Bob's contact information is on the page. I'm John Polson with Memory Group Real Estate here in downtown Williamsburg. I'm the real estate specialist here for the greater Williamsburg, James City County Peninsula area of Virginia. And we are glad to help you make smart decisions and avoid costly mistakes when it comes to real estate investing and protecting your assets. Have a great day. Look forward to hearing from you. If you have any questions, reach out, message me through the button on the page here or through the messenger on the page, or you can call me directly. And my number is 757-707-4664. Have a great day. We will talk again soon. Bob, looks like you rejoined. You rejoined.
Yes, and I tell you, it was on my end because the internet went out completely, and I jumped over to my hotspot.
I got you. Well, oh, okay. I see what happened. Okay. Well, I just concluded.
It wasn't you. It was me.
It was just the connection. Okay. Well, I just wrapped up and told everybody your contact information is here on the page, and they can reach out if they have any questions. We'll catch up again next week.
All right. Thanks, John. Take care.
Yeah, you do. Bye.
Bye.